Your 20s can be an interesting time because you think it's gonna be like Sex in the City, but it's more like New Girl meets the scariest horror movie you've ever met. Okay, I'm definitely exaggerating. Let's start over.
What's up? Not that far.
I live at home, a couple years out of college now, which sounds crazy. Most of my friends are long distance, which is... And I turned 24 a couple months ago, and I've been thinking a lot about what I want my life to look like, or what I think my past self wanted my life to look like at this age, and coming to terms with like that those two things are like not exactly the same. I feel like people, especially like when you're in your 20s, you express a lot of feelings of like disappointment when you compare your life to other people's, but for me, it's not so much of that as somebody who like is a recovering perfectionist. It's more so feeling like you're disappointing yourself for not doing exactly what you thought you were gonna be doing when you were like 16. And I recognize that that's like unrealistic, but there is this part of me, it hit me in January where I was just kind of, you know, like a regular monotonous like work day where I got up, I had breakfast, washed my face, brushed my teeth, went to work, took an after work nap, and then did the same thing for like a week before I was like, whoa, I'm losing my mind. And I also don't think I've left the house all week. There was a hard conclusion I came to also a couple weeks ago where I was like, Diva, I think that's just like life and you have to make your life like fun. I have to make my life fun. And so it was like a culmination of a couple of things. The new year, seeing people setting all these goals. I do feel like there was this element of like, Diva, it feels like you keep waiting for somebody to come in and like change your life. You can make tangible efforts to change your life on like a daily basis. And so I decided that I wanted to make some changes because no one can really truly change your life intrinsically but you. I just wanted to find myself like out of this rut. It's okay to like not know where you want to be in a couple of months or at the end of this year, but it's okay to know that you don't exactly want to be in the same position. And that's kind of what I want for myself. Diva, you want things in your life to look a little different next year, and like how do you get to that? And to do that, you need to make some changes in your life. And mind you, this is like 3 weeks into a like 365-day year, and so this is like step one of what is going to be like a continuous process that I hope you guys stick with me on because I need some motivation. Okay, so first, it is not that deep. Don't take that into all areas of life. Some things are that deep. It is good to treat things with like empathy and seriousness, but more so in the sense of I so often found myself like spiraling into like this is gonna end up in like the worst situation, or being like super pessimistic before something had even happened or before I had even like applied to something. And it was kind of my mom that said this, where she was like, Diva, you do that a lot. And I was like, yeah. And I say this in the sense of like, stop framing things as like you can never come back from them. I remember thinking some things that happened when I was like a teenager, or even when I was in college, where I was like, this is like the worst thing ever, or like the most awkward or the most like cringy, and thinking that like you'll never bounce back from it. But now I'm like 24 and all of those moments are in the past, because that's the thing. Regardless of whether or not you feel like it's embarrassing or awkward to do something, like life is going to keep passing you by. I think more so just like lead your life, not already regretting something you haven't done or haven't even like attempted to try your best at, you know? And then from when I wake up in the morning, I try for 30 minutes to not use my phone. I find that this has actually helped a lot because it makes me feel like I'm like really waking myself up. There's also something about like as soon as you wake up, like looking at a phone screen that I realize is really not good for my eyes as somebody who like who already wears glasses. Many people have recommended like across the board in a lot of like social media detox, like how good that is for you. I don't know if I'm ready to do like a social media detox completely, you know, like take it at your own pace. I started exercising. So my lazy girls, come a little closer to the camera. I'm somebody, when it comes to exercising, what is your goal? I know my goal is that like I kind of just found myself eating a lot of fried food lately, which is not like the end of the world, but very much I noticed I'd be walking up the stairs and I'd be so quickly out of breath. And I'd be like, that doesn't feel like, it's one thing to be like a little winded, but maybe it's the childhood asthma in me. I'd be so out of breath and I'd be like, this feels concerning. I know that exercise can help you a lot when you're much older than I am right now. I know that I frame a lot of my life sometimes as like, Diva, let's do this now, because when you're older, and by older I mean like let's say like in your 60s, you're not going to want to do that then, so let's try to keep ourselves like limber now. But I always feel like what dissuaded me, to be quite frank, is that like the motivation and the accountability to just like keep exercising. For me, doing like Zoom exercises or like online or watching YouTube, I'll do it for like a week, 2 weeks, feel really motivated. but there's nothing keeping me accountable but me. And you know, sometimes you need like another motivator. Sometimes you need other people or some kind of other force that's gonna push you to do something. Eating healthier, and for me, this primarily just means like less fried food and less junk food. I've been in a position lately where because of something I do, I have access to like a lot of fried food. So I've just noted myself like eating fries, mozzarella sticks day to day. It's just not been good for me. But like I said before, you do not have to like hate yourself into like loving yourself. Changing aspects of your life are going to be like difficult regardless, I feel like, because like changing aspects of your life are hard. And like I said, this is a journey for me. So I don't want to sound like I know it all, but like we're going to be doing this like together and having fun with it. More so just like finding substitutes. A bad habit that I picked up from college because there was like an ice cream bar. I would have like ice cream after every meal at dinner. That's kind of a habit I picked up like post-grad too, where it felt like, oh Diva, let's have like a super like sweet treat. And now instead of just like ice cream, sometimes I'll still have ice cream. Like now I have like grapes, bananas. Like in me like knowing myself, or like attempting to know myself like better in my 20s, I know if I quit cold turkey from having even like matcha with like my vanilla syrup, I would not be like happy. So it's like, Diva, maybe like let's not drink it every day, but let's start drinking it in moderation and start using less sugar in it. It's good to have big goals for yourself, but I feel like it's also good to like lead up to having bigger goals. Not because you don't believe in yourself, but more so in the sense, I feel like once I achieve these new goals, sometimes you gotta give yourself like little achievements so it doesn't feel like you're punishing yourself to try to live a better life, if that makes sense. Next, money management. And I also feel like using discernment. And I feel like money management, I think about like the long term. I want to think about financially like where I want to see myself. Diva, did you really need that pair of shoes when you already have a bunch of sneakers? The answer is like no. And last but not least, picking up more hobbies. It can be nice to feel like you're just like filling your days with something. I've tried to pick up junk journaling. It kind of just feels like I'm collecting trash. But physical journaling in particular has really helped me. But I hope you join me. I want to try to implement like a productive morning routine into my life, especially on the weekend. And so if you guys like stick around, because we can like do this together. Is the thing. Like we can hold ourselves accountable to make a shift in our lives. And to the other 20-somethings out there who feel like, oh my god, like my life is starting to feel like that SZA song. It's not that you have to be like super positive about enacting change in your life all the time, but I think it can just feel good to know you're putting your best foot forward. And that's all we can ask of ourselves. So I will see you guys later on this journey, because that's what it's gonna be. It's gonna be a journey because I am in no way finished yet. Bye guys.